scored again to ruin the afternoon for Jurgen Klopp's side. I mean, it's crazy how quickly it all unfolded for Liverpool after they conceded that first goal.
Now, I might be wrong in this. I don't think Liverpool are going to retain the league.
Hello and welcome back to the Off the Crossbar podcast with myself, Regan, Walsh, and my co-presenter, as always, Bradley Morris. How are you on this Monday morning, Brad?
I'm doing all right from the usual Monday mornings that we're used to. I'm actually as fit as a fiddle.
Which is better than you was last week, let's say that. You got more energy in you today.
More energy in me than a Duracell body. Even if it doesn't sound like it.
Yes. Well, it was a hectic weekend again in the Premier League, and I mean, there's loads of places we could start, but we'll start with the lunchtime kickoff on Saturday between Leicester City and at the King Power Stadium.
Let's be honest, where else was you going to start?
I mean, we could have started at Spurs, Man City.
This is the much more crisis issue.
Well, yeah, currently it is the bigger crisis issue. So, yeah, Liverpool took the lead just after the hour mark, thanks to a Mohamed Salah goal after a wonderful bit of play from Roberto Firmino.
It was
However,
a
that lead
disgusting assist.
Yes, one of the best assists you'll see this season. However, the lead lasted only 11 minutes before James Maddison put Leicester level, and then a few minutes later, Jamie Vardy and Harvey Barnes scored again to ruin the afternoon for Jurgen Klopp's side. I mean, it's crazy how quickly it all unfolded for Liverpool after they conceded that first goal.
Now, I might be wrong in this. I don't think Liverpool are going to retain the league.
No. I'm going to side with you on that one. I mean, they've really been bad. Like, I know we've been saying it, they've been bad, but they've been really bad now.
Yeah, the main difference is that City pointed out last season they'd go behind in games, but they'd come back. The second they concede in this, they capitulate.
Yeah, it seems like they don't know what to do anymore once they've conceded a goal. Like you said, last year you'd see an instant reaction from them and they would score one or two more goals and go on to win the match. Where this season you think, oh crikey, if they concede early it could be an absolute onslaught, or if they concede late, are they going to just fall asleep now for the last 20 minutes or so like it was on Saturday and concede another 2 goals within the space of like 5-6 minutes?
And again, if we look at this from both sides, it is a problem that's not completely caused by themselves. They've been forced into an issue, really.
Yeah. I mean, we've said it before, the amount of injuries they've had this season is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, new signing Ben Davies was injured leading up to the game, I think a day or so before. So that meant Jordan Henderson had to play in defence. Less than 20 minutes into the game, James Milner had to go off with an injury. They are just injury struck this season, which is absolutely crazy.
The understatement of the season, that one. But as much as squad depth is an issue, they have still sort of caused one problem for themselves. We said it in the last show. You play Henderson in defence, you're creating another problem in midfield because there's just no energy.
Yeah, that midfield is just, they're all too similar in the way they play. I mean, the midfield three on Saturday was Jorginho Wijnaldum, James Milner and Curtis Jones. There's no difference in the start how they play. They just all seem to play the same way, and they're just doing nothing anymore. Like, Klopp seems scared to change his tactics.
Yeah.
Which in times like this, the difference between a good manager and a great manager is one who's able to adapt and overcome when they're in a sticky situation. Because, I mean, not necessarily change it every match day from one loss to another, but be able to change something on the sly quickly in the in-game, which they haven't been able to do at all. I mean, the substitution that they made after Milner, they brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain just before Leicester equalised, and then 3 minutes from time, after being 3-1 down, they bring on Xherdan Shaqiri. Now, a season or two ago, Shaqiri might have made that little bit of a difference in this Liverpool team, but nowadays he's just a passenger in this team. He's not going to be the difference maker or the player to get you back into a game.
Yeah, it's out of the same with most of their midfield. Like, Oxlade-Chamberlain doesn't offer as much anymore. Shaqiri's there as well. It was proved how important Diogo Jota became from.
Yeah, and fortunately for them, he is back in training. Not too sure whether he'll be available for this weekend or not. He might be a little bit later, but they do really badly need him, which is crazy to think, considering they only bought him in the summer, how desperately they need him. Another player that's continuing to struggle is Thiago Alcantara. I mean, from him at Bayern Munich to this season at Liverpool, it's like two different worlds.
Yeah, this guy. Is there a fraud watch alert on Thiago right now?
I don't want to say it because I know how much of a world-class player he is, but in this Liverpool team, I think that actually might have to be.
I mean, thank God they didn't pay for him.
They'd be searching for their receipts straight away if they did, considering how bad it was. Just
And I had one last thing, because we've sort of forgot Leicester in this. They were great.
Yeah.
And I need to know what Jamie Vardy's relationship is with corner flags.
I have no idea. I mean, he does come up with some crazy ones. He's a bit like Marcus Thuram at Borussia Mönchengladbach. Just loves a corner flag celebration, it seems.
Yeah, but what's happened with Marcus Thuram, if you've seen the stuff.
Yes. Credit to Brendan Rodgers' side for getting back into the game after going a goal down and putting an onslaught onto Liverpool with Vardy, Barnes and Maddison all scoring. I mean, that front four of including Michael Brighton there is a really good front four. It's such a joy to watch this Leicester attack.
It's so weird to think 10 years on from when Michael Brighton was... We were all begging for Michael Brighton to be our next guy at Villa, and now look at his position.
Yeah.
Nobody thought that.
With victory, it moves Brendan Rodgers' side level on points with Manchester United, who played West Bromwich Albion on Sunday and dropped even more points by only managing a 1-1 draw at the Hawthorns. They went behind within the opening 2 minutes after Mbaye Diagne scored from a Conor Gallagher cross, and I mean, when I saw that, I was just like, only Man United could do that.
Was I right?
Yes. I do hold all my hands. We're completely out of this title race now.
The Big Sam effect?
I mean, he's now got points, if I remember correctly, against Manchester United, Arsenal and Liverpool since taking over.
It's the big clubs, man. That's how he is every time. It's just there. It's just the mentality where he motivates his teams for the bigger game.
I mean, United were blooming dreadful, weren't they?
Although you did actually remind me of that, because a couple of episodes I did say that United were out of it, and you were saying I'd be regretting it. So
yeah, the tables have definitely turned, and I do owe you an apology because United aren't in this title race anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a lovely finish from Bruno Fernandes when he did score the equaliser, but only Man United could go to a team that has won once at home all season, struggle to beat them, and not beat them even. It's so typical of Man United in recent years. They can look good against mid-table teams and put a good few goals past them. They put up a good fight against the top 6. Yeah, we played the bottom 4 or 5 sides and they struggle.
It's the case of breaking them down, isn't it?
Yeah. But they should be able to break them down a lot easier, though. Like, it just shows they lacked that creative spark. The lineup, excuse me, in the midfield, they had McTominay, Fred, Rashford, Fernandes, Martial, and Cavani was the forward line. Obviously, not all in midfield with Cavani, but that's just not. I don't know. That team should be able to beat West Brom.
Well, yeah, any team should be able to beat West Brom right now. But yeah, it's just looked devoid of creativity, even with Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Well, admittedly, I am surprised you haven't come on here claiming VAR has robbed you.
The less we speak about VAR, the fucking better, I say nowadays.
Is it a pen?
For me, no. I think he's looked for it more than anything. I think Maguire's trying to get the contact, and he knows any touch on him, he's going to go down and get a penalty. But I think it was the right decision to overturn it because, like I said, he's gone with the intent of searching for a penalty there rather than just playing football naturally.
Yeah.
And seeing any contact come on him. 100%. So, like we said with Leicester, that leaves United level on points. Only they're ahead by goal difference, 3 goals splitting the 2 sides, whilst West Bromwich Albion remain in 19th but have 13 points. So they are still 12 points off of Newcastle, just outside the relegation zone, having played a game more than the Toon, because they play Chelsea later on today as of recording. The game hasn't happened yet.
Remind me, Man U's points total.
46.
Okay, interesting. Carry on.
Okay. The other big game this weekend saw Manchester City take on Tottenham Hotspurs at the Etihad Stadium. And we spoke about it on our preview show, where I just seemed to say Man City were going to absolutely destroy Tottenham. And it was a comfortable win in the end for Pep Guardiola's side, winning 3-0 thanks to a Rodri penalty after 23 minutes, Ilkay Gundogan scoring a brace in the second half. You got to say, Ilkay Gundogan has really turned up these last few months, hasn't he?
Who turned him into prime Steven Gerrard?
Absolutely unreal how he's performing lately.
Was it Dortmund he was a more defensive-minded midfielder?
Yeah, he was a lot more defensively thinking back then.
It's almost like the absence of Kevin De Bruyne has just forced him into a more advanced role. And he's turned up.
I think that's now 9 goals he scored in the last few games for them in all competitions, if I remember correctly. I saw a stat like that recently. So he scored 11 goals in total this season in the Premier League, which is an incredible feat for him considering his previous seasons.
Incredible feat for him. Incredible feat for myself in the fantasy team and all my brethren who captained him this week.
Jesus Christ. Would have been even better if you triple. Jesus.
And he's got another game.
I think not the main talking point, but the big one, well, not a big one, but a talking point of the game was Rodri taking the penalty. I mean, they've had their mishaps of penalties
that much that Rodri's now on penalties.
I mean,
I just want to know when Edison's on him.
Well, I thought he actually was going to take this one after what Pep Guardiola was saying after Gundogan missed his one last week. So I was expecting Edison to run the field and take it, but Rodri calmly slotted it away for Man City.
He wouldn't be the first Brazilian goalkeeper to be on set pieces.
After Rogério Ceni for Sao Paulo. Tottenham, on the other hand, I mean, what more can we say about them?
Yeah, so when are they going to start claiming for Jose's exit?
I think within the next month, I think we'll see a lot more Jose out talk being called.
Yeah. I feel like we have to also mention Davinson Sanchez channeling his inner Phil Jones in this.
Oh my god, he got destroyed there, Davinson Sanchez. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It left me speechless when I saw what happened to him.
Look how they massacred my poor boy.
But yeah, poor performance from Spurs. Like I said in the preview show, I had a hunch that they were going to struggle all week in this game, and I was proven right again. Elsewhere in the Premier League on Sunday, the game after Manchester United, so was it the fourth? This was the 4:30 slot at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal played Leeds United. Now, before we go on to talking about this game, we'll talk about it a bit later as well in the predictions. We are now banning Leeds United from Predictions League. For fuck's sake, they are
officially
banned.
declaring this.
Yes,
in writing.
in
Everyone
writing.
remind us, please.
Yeah, because I'm never ever allowing you to pick Leeds United as a game ever again. Because I mean, I now look even more stupid for what I said pre-show. In the preview show, I said Leeds are going to dominate Arsenal, and they're going to easily win the game. And then Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang decides to score a hat-trick for Arsenal, as well as a Hector Bellerin goal as well. I mean,
am I being fair that Leeds are now actually the definition of frauds?
Yep.
Not in terms of table, they've done very well, but I've just had enough of predicting them.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a lot better than what I thought they would do at the start of the season, but they are literally just saying, you score 100 goals in games, we'll also score 100 goals. Like, they're the one team that could actually finish the season with the same amount of goals scored as conceded.
You seen the stat that went around?
No, what is it?
It was the total 23 games they've played. They've scored 40, but they've conceded 42.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm just looking at the rest of the league now, and no one else has that. I mean, the next closest in terms of goal difference, like being extremely close to level, is Everton, who have scored 34 and conceded 30, and then West Ham, who scored the same amount of goals, 34, and conceded 28. But Leeds are literally, you score, we score. Everybody scores when they play us.
Like a tennis match.
It really is. It's just back and forth, point after
Pretty soon, the scorelines in Leeds games will be 15-all.
I wouldn't be surprised at this rate. It could actually happen this season. But credit to Mikel Arteta's side for getting the win, ending the 3-match winless run and move above Leeds into the top half of the table with that win. I mean, I was surprised that they did that well on Aubameyang, which with one of his first games. Was it his first game back, or had he played a game previous after missing a bit of time?
He was being put on the bench a bit. Obviously, they're on a form, but,
Yeah.
For that one, he seemed to remember how to score a goal.
Yes, and he just turned back into prime Aubameyang from his Borussia Dortmund days, it seemed.
We need to single out Bukayo Saka as well.
Yeah, I mean,
He was just fantastic, wasn't he?
Absolutely unreal. I mean, just imagine in this Euros, Gareth Southgate can have him and Phil Foden playing at the same time.
Jack Grealish in front of them.
Oh, Jordan Pickford somehow still gets in goal.
No, you just know Grealish is getting dropped, so we can
Mason Mount's being where Jack Grealish is meant to be. But yeah, Saka was once again exceptional for Arsenal, who looked very comfortable all round despite conceding 2 late goals. Well, not like second half goal from Pascal Struijk and Helder Costa for Marcelo Bielsa's side. But good weekend for Arsenal. Elsewhere in the Premier League, on Saturday afternoon after the lunchtime kickoff, Crystal Palace welcomed Burnley to the Selhurst Park, and it was Sean Dyche's side that ran out 3-0 winners, which just seems
They welcomed them
crazy.
all right.
I
They let them run riot.
2-0 down inside the opening 10 minutes thanks to a Johan Goodmanson goal and Jay Rodriguez goal as well. I mean, what on earth happened to Palace?
This is the first time it's happened. So, this was again one of the worst performances they've had under Roy Hodgson.
It's woeful how bad they were. The fact they let Matt Loughton score a goal.
And listen, I've seen many Matt Loughton volleys. That man knows how to do it.
Yeah, but when was the last time you saw him score a goal before this weekend?
It was genuine. I think they said it was 2013.
Exactly.
He last scored a goal, and that I don't remember that goal because he was still our player. I don't remember it.
I don't remember that goal.
I thought it was the volley against Stoke, but it wasn't.
Was it another goal against Palace?
I've no idea. I only remember 2 goals of Matt Loughton's. That was his first one against Swansea, which was an amazing volley, and then the second one, which was the Stoke one that everyone talks about.
Yeah,
which somehow didn't win goal of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this was just an absolute poor performance all round for Crystal Palace. I mean,
I wanted to go more in depth on this one because, judging by reaction after that one, Palace fans have turned.
They're in a bad stretch of form, if I remember correctly.
You got to think as well that are they happy to just be a mid-table club being in the Premier League every season?
I mean, the fans might not be, but what are they expecting? I mean, they're not a team that will happily go out and splash 40 to 50 million on a player, and they'll spend somewhere between 15 million to 30 million on a player, or maybe sometimes in a transfer window. I'm not expecting them to be any higher than where they usually are in the table. I mean, they're currently 14th in the league. But again, a few results and they could climb up to about 11th. And obviously other results going their way. But
see, that sentence doesn't sit Graham. Yeah, well done, lads. You've gone up to 11th. It's never going to sit well with any football fan.
No,
you want to compete. You look at the players they have. Zaha should be at a bigger club for his talent.
Yeah.
Eze should be a better club to support his talent. And yeah, that defence isn't awful. They should be doing better.
I mean, that's the thing, that this Premier League season has been completely strange. I mean, honestly, at the start of the season, who would have had West Ham and Aston Villa in the places where they are at this start of the season? I mean, even you've got to admit you wouldn't have expected your Villa's team to be up there.
No.
And then Arsenal and Spurs struggling as bad as they are, and Wolves and Sheffield United having their big slip-offs like they've had. It's been a strange Premier League season.
I can hear Demandschaft in the distance.
Well, yeah, for me, the Palace fans might not be happy with where they are and how they're performing under Roy Hodgson, but until they spend big, I just see them staying where they are. They're becoming like the Everton of the lower half of the table. They're too good to go down, but they're not good enough. Go on.
They're the Stoke.
Yeah.
Either Burnley or them. They've become the new Stoke.
Yeah. They'll just survive in the league for years to come. Just coasting along.
Yeah.
And the positions may change here and there every couple of years. But I just don't expect anything of Palace anymore. So it really doesn't surprise me where they are at all in the league. Because, I mean, like I said a million times, for me, that is where Palace are meant to be. and I never expect them to be anything else. Elsewhere in the Premier League this weekend, Everton played Fulham in what has been the last game for us so far, and Josh Maja brought the magic for Scott Parker's side, scoring a brace in the second half for them.
I mean, it was that much of a magic. That guy didn't even know he'd signed for them last night. It just like, wait a minute, Josh Maja plays for Fulham.
Yes. I think it was a deadline day signing, or like maybe a day or so before.
He scored more in one game than Mitrovic has all season.
That really doesn't surprise me there, but considering how bad Mitrovic has been in the Premier League for him once again. But yeah,
Everton just weren't on this, like at all.
I don't even know what Everton were doing in this game. It seemed like
it was another one for fun. They were well organised, and then they dominated this at times. They were having chances at the first few minutes. This could have been worse.
Oh, 100%, 100%. It could have been. I mean, for me, I think they were just they were still tired from the other night when they played Tottenham in the Cup. The fact that it went to extra time. I mean, yeah, they had the extra day recovery compared to Tottenham, who played on Saturday.
I mean, you would be tired watching Tottenham, wouldn't
you? But yeah, I mean, for me, they were just really bad. I don't. They just seem so inconsistent. I mean, it's crazy to think at the start of the season there was the talk of could they actually be Premier League champions this season, and now it just seems like a whole.
That feels like years ago. All that.
It really does. It feels like a whole different season. I mean, for me, Everton are just gone back to normal Evertonness now.
Evertonness.
Which is, they're just going to be
it's
in and
seventh.
around.
That's still Europe. I think that'd be still a fantastic season for them.
Is it Europe?
In the case the top 4 club win, or any of the top 6 clubs win the League Cup or the FA Cup.
So League Cup final is Man City versus Tottenham, is it?
Yeah, although then again Tottenham will need that with where they're going.
Exactly.
And then the FA Cup, I think you win like the 6th becomes available, 7th, so forth.
Yeah. So Everton will be hoping for one of the top 6 sides to Man City to win both competitions, ideally for them.
They can still finish 5th. Like, rule nothing out this season.
Yeah, I mean, they've still got a game in hand on Chelsea, and they're only 2 points behind the Blues, who are playing, as we said, later on this evening for us. And they've got 2 games in hand.
That's not the team they've got to worry about.
Yes, they've got to worry about your Villa. But if this was next season, they would be fine in 7th place, because I think next season, at the end of it, is the introduction of that Europa Conference League, the third European tournament, or just basically, if you're an older football fan, it's the Intertoto Cup again, but just under a different name.
The greatest cup competition of them all.
Yes, is back, but under a new name. Speaking of Aston Villa now, they played out a 0-0 draw with Brighton and Hove Albion on Saturday evening, and Villa were really bad. Like,
really bad. Steady on, I've slept on it. We were mildly bad.
I can't even say mildly bad. I mean, apart from Emiliano Martinez making some good saves,
the man is a literal wall.
Yeah, that was one of your worst performances this season, you gotta say.
I put that down mainly to Brighton just being so good. They would, how organised they were, we couldn't put in our usual intent and energy, and just, Grealish was marked out of it for a lot of it.
Yeah. Credit to Graham Potter for getting this team organised that well.
They're becoming a bogey club for us, Brian. We never seem to win. Not even the championship season, we didn't beat them. It's the way they organise. I'm noticing teams that play with intent and come at us, high press, don't let us do anything. we struggle.
Well, that is definitely the way to set up against Villa in the future. Then for these lower league sides,
You got to put that. So Brighton, obviously winning the last time. The West Ham game, Liverpool, the Leeds game.
Mm.
Even Southampton, like early in the season, all those teams, the same sort of mindset of pressing. Like we seem to struggle a bit.
Which is very strange. You would think they would be the easy teams for years to beat. The other game in the Premier League.
Wait, I forgot the last bit. I mean, this is a cry out to Dean Smith now because please stop starting Ross Barkley. I don't rate him anymore. I'm sorry.
Give him a few more games and you'll be back to loving him again.
I saw rumours that apparently Chelsea are going to want 40 million for him.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I know exactly. We paid 40 million for him. We wouldn't pay half.
He's about 10 to 15 at max.
Ridiculous. We do that. We need looking at because this man has shown nothing that I want to sign him permanently.
Not for that much anyway.
I look at him and I go, well, Jacob Ramsey can do that much better.
Mm.
Even then, like Sanson came on for like 15 minutes. He did more in the first minute that he came on.
Very strange if they do make that permanently.
It's a weird thing with Barkley. He looks more motivated to play against the bigger teams than he does the smaller ones.
Yeah, it does seem to be the way, but
does he have the opposite Big Sam effect?
You must do. The final game that's happened this weekend in the Premier League saw Wolverhampton Wanderers take on Southampton at St Mary's, and it was the Midlands side that won 2-1 thanks to a Ruben Neves penalty and a Pedro Neto goal, both in the second half. That was after Danny Ings put Southampton ahead after 25 minutes with a nice goal.
Do you think Ali McCoy's like that one?
I think so.
He said he's very... for that one.
Yeah, yes.
I do like a bit of Ali McCoy.
Yeah, he was one of them where I didn't used to like him, but he has started to grow on me slowly.
I mean, it's weird. You respect those a lot more when you have enough of Martin Tyler and Steve McManaman and Martin Keown.
Yeah.
But there's just an energy he brings.
Definitely. It's a nice change to hear in the commentary.
No, Peter Drury as well.
Oh, Peter Drury will always be a top class commentator. When you hear him commentate on like some of the best World Cup goals, it just sends shivers down your spines.
It's almost like we're wishing Amazon to get more rights.
Yes. With that result, he does see Wolverhampton Wanderers move above Southampton up into 12th place in the Premier League, but the Saints do have a game in hand.
If there's one other final thing we need to settle on, it's Pedro Neto is now the standout at Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely class. I mean, he's only 20 years old, am I correct?
Yeah, he'll get a big move one day.
I think it'll be within the next 12 months he'll get a move. I mean, what he is doing is absolutely phenomenal for his age.
You could always see him maybe in a Man City.
Yeah.
Maybe even a Barca.
You could have him, Trincao and Pedri in that Barcelona team would be phenomenal to see.
Ricky Puig behind him and then whoever's striker.
Martin Braithwaite.
Well, then again, Barcelona are going to have to invest heavily in their youth with their funding.
Well, yes, that is what's going to be the case. Right, so that is the Premier League all wrapped up. On to the European action now, and over in the Bundesliga, Leipzig beat Augsburg 2-1 on Friday evening, with Christopher Nkunku and Dani Olmo scoring from the penalty spot. However, big talking point was after the game for them as they decided to make Angelino's transfer a permanent one and signed him until 2025, and then it came out on Saturday that Bayern Munich had agreed to sign Dayot Upamecano in the summer, paying his release clause of £42.5 million, and he will join the club until 2026, which is no surprise that he ended up at Bayern Munich, is it?
I guess not. Best club in the world. You're not going to turn them down, are you?
Yeah, I mean, it just, even if they weren't like having the incredible 12 months that they've had, the best talents coming out of the Bundesliga always end up in Germany anyway. It's just what Bayern
And they're all
Munich do.
French.
Yeah, they could line up with an all-French defence next season, because they could have Luca Hernandez, Upamecano,
Pavard would be right back.
Pavard, and then
But they'd have Kimmich in midfield if they did that.
yeah, I've forgotten who's their other French defender they could have.
Sure there is it? I don't think there is another one.
Bouna Sarr. They signed him in
Oh yeah. The
a
young
transfer.
kid.
Yes. So they could have a whole French back four, which would be crazy. And that
It's
would
weird to say Luca Hernandez is the oldest of that lot.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And he's only 25 years old, which is crazy. I mean, Pavard's only a year younger than him, but still.
I mean, then again, Luca Hernandez isn't going to start. It's Alphonso Davies all day.
You mean Speedy Gonzalez?
Yeah. What part of Canada is Davies from?
I haven't got a Solomon clue.
Because if it's the French part, maybe he's
I'm
a
not sure.
Quebec guy.
I feel like he's Vancouver.
It's not French.
Because
Wasn't he Montreal area?
Because didn't he play for Vancouver Whitecaps before?
Yeah, but doesn't mean.
Considering he was born in Ghana, he might be able to speak French.
Close enough. Move on.
Yes, elsewhere in the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund played out a 2-2 draw with Hoffenheim, which their season is just so bad. Dortmund this year, they've massively...
They are going to lose Haaland and Sancho in the summer.
For next to nothing, especially with Sancho. I mean, last summer they were wanting 120 million for him. This summer, they're not going to get anywhere near that if they miss out on the Champions League.
Yeah. And while he has, big with him as well, while he has turned up, he hasn't been the same as he has in past seasons.
No, 100%.
His mind is almost set and leaving.
Yeah.
You'd think.
I think they're going to get about half that much this summer. I really do. If they miss out on Champions League. I mean, he did score as well as Erling Haaland scoring for them, but it wasn't enough as Monas de Boer and Ilias Bebu scored for Hoffenheim to share the points. Leverkusen drew with Mainz, the exact same score. Patrick Schick and Lucas Alario scored for Leverkusen, whilst Robert Glasgow, who's on loan from Cardiff City, and Kevin Stoger scored two extremely late goals for Mainz, which is bad news for Leverkusen. No other big results in Germany, as it was a weekend of draws in the Bundesliga. I mean, Leipzig were the only team to have won this weekend so far, until yesterday when Frankfurt beat Cologne 2-0 as well. But every other result was a draw, and then Bayern Munich play later on this evening against Arminia Bielefeld, which you would expect Munich to win there. Over in Spain, Celta Vigo beat Elche 3-1 on Friday, and then on Saturday, Atletico Madrid continued their incredible season, beating Granada 2-1. Marcos Llorente and Angel Correa with the goals for Diego Simeone's side, which is two very weird goal scorers this season. You wouldn't expect them to be the goal scorers. I mean, that was Correa's fourth goal this season for them, and Llorente has scored 7, but it seems weird there's a game where Luis Suarez hasn't scored so far.
Maybe. I mean, you know more than me on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Suarez's season has been absolutely unreal. I mean, he scored 16 goals this season for Atletico Madrid, which is incredible to think that Barcelona got rid of him. It just blows my mind. Speaking of Barcelona, they did beat Alaves 5-1 with Junior Firpo, Trinchao scoring a brace, and Lionel Messi scoring 2 great goals for Barcelona.
One of them nights, was it?
Definitely, he seemed to turn up tonight. Not tonight, and Saturday evening. Real Madrid.
I mean, he gave a very subtle wave, didn't he? Don't want to go, like, I'm still here. Sign me, please. Por favor.
Real Madrid beat Valencia 2-0. Karim Benzema and Toni Kroos with the 2 first half goals for Zinedine Zidane's side, though they did think they had a third goal in the 63rd minute, but it was by Ferland Mendy, but it was disallowed by VAR, which is no surprise there. And there were the big results in Spain this weekend, and over in Italy. What a crazy weekend it was. So on Friday, Bologna drew with Benevento 1-1. Saturday got underway with Torino and Genoa playing a 0-0 draw. Then the big game of Saturday saw Napoli take on Juventus, and it was the side from Naples to take all 3 points thanks to a Lorenzo Insigne penalty after 31 minutes, which definitely was a shock to the system. I don't think anyone was expecting Napoli to win that game, considering how dominant Juventus was. I mean, they had 24 shots and 6 on target, which is crazy to think that they didn't come out on the winning side there. And then the final game on Saturday saw league leaders AC Milan lose 2-0 to Spezia, with Simone Bastoni scoring, as well as Giulio Maggiore.
If we put into context the shock of that one, you hadn't even heard of this team.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is Spezia's first season ever in the top flight of Italian football, so that really is a big shock considering how well AC Milan were doing this season. And then on Sunday, Roma beat Udinese 3-0 thanks to goals from Pedro and a Jordan Vertu brace, which is very strange to say.
Repeat that. Jordan Vertu, he's alive.
And scored a brace, with one of them being a penalty as well.
Well, what could have been with him?
Yeah. Atalanta beat Cagliari 1-0 thanks to a goal from Luis Muriel in stoppage time. Sampdoria beat Fiorentina 2-1 thanks to Fabio Quagliarella and Keita Balde scoring for Sampdoria. And Inter Milan beat Lazio 3-1 to send Inter Milan to the top of the table. Romelu Lukaku scoring a brace and Lautaro Martinez getting the other goal for the Antonio Conte's side. And with them 2 goals, it brought up Lukaku's 300th career goal, which is a phenomenal feat for someone who is still quite young-ish. I mean, he's mid-20s, isn't he?
Well, I could have swore he was 28, but it is weird to think, I know, because years ago I swear he was a bit older now.
27.
That's still actually pretty good. In the prime of his career.
Yes. But yeah, it's nice to see a new league leader of the Italian table, but it's still a team from Milan.
What have you got against AC?
No, I think it's just it's a bit weird having AC Milan back at the top of the table for so long, so it's nice to have
just a weird thing into it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main worry. Juventus aren't at the top. I mean, they're 8 points behind Inter Milan. Admittedly, Juve have a game in hand, but that game in hand isn't going to magically give them 8 points, is it?
It's not.
Elsewhere in France, on Saturday, PSG beat Nice 2-1 thanks to Julian Draxler and Loney Moise Keane getting the goals for Mauricio Pochettino's side. I nearly forgot who was managing PSG for a second. There was the shock as Montpellier beat Lyon 2-1. Sepe Vahi and Tesi Savanier with the goals for Montpellier, whilst Lucas Paqueta scored for Lyon in first half stoppage time. Monaco played out a 2-2 draw with FC Lorient. Saint-Etienne beat Rennes 2-0, and Marseille and Bordeaux played out a 0-0 draw. So the Ligue 1 table has Lille on top ahead of PSG by a point, even though PSG have the much superior goal difference. And then over in the Netherlands, in the Eredivisie, PSV played out a 2-2 draw with ADO Den Haag, and Ajax beat Heracles 2-0 with Sebastian Haller and Davy Klaassen scoring for Ajax. No surprises there. with Ajax continuing their incredible form as always in the Eredivisie. Bit of women's football talk since our last roundup on Thursday's show. There was the Manchester derby on Friday evening, which Manchester City comfortably won 3-0 with Lucy Bronze, Lauren Hemp and a Caroline Wheel wonder strike to seal the 3 points for Gareth Taylor's side. I mean, that goal was just absolutely phenomenal, wasn't it?
Can I put the argument in that there have been a better quality of goals in the Women's Super League than has the Premier League this year?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can't think of any, there's the Erebice Eze goal a few weeks back for Crystal Palace.
It's the only one that really stands out to me.
Yeah, that's the only goal I can think of at the top of my head in the Premier League that's gone, wow, that's actually a world-class goal this season. Where the WSL, we've had Pernilla Harder scoring some great goals, Viviana Miedema doing what she does best, that Caroline Weir goal, which was phenomenal as well. And Mana Iwabuchi as well last week. I hadn't forgot, don't worry.
You did.
I hadn't got to it yet. And then
that one came first.
Yeah, whatever. Elsewhere in the WSL, there was
good. Bruno Fernandes was just copying it.
There was some games on, 2 games on yesterday. Reading played Everton at the Majeski Stadium. It finished 1-1 draw. Rachel Rowe and Nicoline Sorensen with the goals. And then Chelsea played Bristol City and won 5-0 with goals coming from Fran Kirby scoring a brace, Pernilla Harder, Sam Kerr and Beth England scoring the goals for Emma Hayes' side.
Interesting preview there for the Conti Cup final.
Yes, I wouldn't be too surprised if a similar outcome was to happen. There was meant to be another game yesterday between Arsenal and Aston Villa, but for the 3rd time this season, this game has been postponed, this time due to a frozen pitch.
Just give us the 3 points.
Awesome. Genuinely, I don't think this game is meant to be played this season. I mean, it's scheduled to be the first meeting between the two sides since 2008, if I remember correctly. But the footballing gods just don't seem to want it to be played this season. Though we do head into an international break now, and fixtures will commence again the weekend of the 7th of March, with the early kickoff there being between Manchester United and Aston Villa. So hopefully we can get round to a full set of fixtures and the season can finish off correctly. The only other big talking point in the world of women's football was Barcelona. They beat Logroño 2-0, if I remember correctly, in the Copa del Reina to win that in the final. So congratulations are due there to Barcelona. Right, it's on to the Predictions League now. And this week...
It's been a long show.
Because there's actually been a lot to talk about this week in the Premier League as well.
We've made it, so...
So our predictions this week were Leicester versus Liverpool. I went with 2-1 Leicester, you went with 1-1, so I get the 2 points there. Man City, Tottenham, we both get 2 points for the right outcome, not the right score, though I'm a little disappointed because if Spurs had scored 1 goal, I would have got another perfect score there. Arsenal, Leeds, we best not talk about. We said Leeds are now banned after we both predicted Leeds to win. Borussia Dortmund versus Hoffenheim, I got a perfect score. You get 2 points for the right outcome, wrong scoreline. Napoli, Juventus, again, we were both wrong. And then Inter Milan versus Lazio, we both get 2 points because we predicted Inter Milan to win, but not the right scoreline. So at the end of this weekend's play, you're on 65 points and I'm on 92. Getting ever so close to the 100-point mark. So hopefully, come this weekend's fixtures, I can break the 100-point barrier. Right, it's over to you now for Did You See That?
Oh, I have to play the intro because it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Oh, he missed it! I do not believe what I've just seen! Very interesting! Oh! Something weird is going on. see that?
I always forgot how glorious an intro that is.
I genuinely when was the last time we heard it?
It feels like weeks.
It really was.
Yeah. But anyway, where do we start with this week?
I think we start with the big and obvious tweet from Mikel Antonio from yesterday.
Hey, big and obvious in other meetings. Yeah, yesterday was Valentine's Day, and Mikel Antonio was clearly feeling the love in his own way. Not sure what it was he was feeling, but
I was wondering what his wife was feeling afterwards.
God. But yeah, if you'd seen the tweet that he put up, I don't want to know.
I mean, it was an absolute phenomenal tweet from him.
Someone's proud.
Yes, I mean, the usual Valentine's Day quote is like, I love you with all my heart and everything, blah, 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 blah. But Mikel Antonio decided not to use that. Instead, he goes, I love you with all my place down below. We'll keep it PG. I would say
this is already an explicit podcast. You might as well just go there.
Yeah, might as well. I love you with all my willy. I would say my heart, but my willy is bigger. Happy V-Day, everyone.
Was he talking about Wilfried Zaha like
that? I mean, Wilfried Zaha is a big player. But yeah, that when I saw that, I was absolutely in tears. He actually tweeted that and got away with it. I'm surprised the club didn't make him take it down.
Because it's Mikel Antonio, he's allowed to get away with it.
Yes. So, what else have you got for us this week?
Well, I guess from one massive lover to crime-fighting hero.
Who?
You know Stefan Al-Sharari?
I mean, not personally, but yes, I do know Stefan Al-Sharari.
Recently just re-signed for Roma. But recently he stopped a thief from stealing his car in Rome.
Oh, well done. I don't know why I said, like he's done something.
Like, he himself, he's chased after the thief himself and has tackled him. I mean, I'm hoping he two-footed him, but I don't think that's how it happened.
Yes, I doubt that is the way it happened. And you said you had a third for us this week?
Right. This mainly involves the man who I think will start becoming a Did You See That favourite, and that is Gennaro Gattuso.
I mean, he's already a footballing favourite to everyone, but
it was his comment.
What's he done this?
After the Napoli win over Juventus. I don't know if you'd seen it.
No, I actually haven't seen it.
Nope. This was one quote that he gave. I won't say in accent.
Good.
You can think I'm a bad coach. Fine, whatever. But I'm prepared to chase you down and shout under your window one by one if it's a lie.
I mean, I expect nothing less from Gennaro Gattuso. I mean,
sometimes
that man is
shit, maybe not.
That man just comes up with some absolute geniusness.
Do you know what it is as well? If you Gennaro Gattuso as well.
What?
10 years ago on this day, if you've been on Twitter.
Since his fight with Joe Jordan.
Yep. The fight he was never going to win.
Yes. Speaking of this fight, it took place in the Champions League, and the Champions League is back tomorrow.
See, this is why you leave this.
Exactly. And we have only the one English team playing this week, but we do have, that is Liverpool, who are away to RB Leipzig in Hungary. So get your head around that. It's a German team against an English team being played in Hungary, but that is due to the fact that no people from England can travel into Germany due to the COVID-19 restrictions. So that takes place.
Remind me, this is still 2 legs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's still the 2 legs.
Leg? It would be Germany, wouldn't it? You think?
No, it's. I'm sure it's allowed to take
every
place at Anfield.
Every single Champions League game is neutral venue.
No, not every single game, because Barcelona versus PSG is taking place in Paris, the Camp Nou tomorrow.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's only a certain amount of ones that are taking place at neutral stadiums.
I feel like for the later rounds, they may have to confirm neutral venues just to be certain.
Yes, so
Obviously, they're going to be in Turkey for the next one. I don't know how Turkey's doing with COVID and that, but like semis, they may have to neutral venue it.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, we got Leipzig versus Liverpool, and the big one from a couple years back, Barcelona taking on Paris Saint-Germain. PSG, sorry, will be without Neymar as he is out for the next month with a injury.
Injury.
Yes, so hopefully that lives up to the same expectation as it did a few years ago. And then
I'm sure he'll enjoy his sister's birthday.
And then on Wednesday of this week, we have Sevilla versus Borussia Dortmund at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium. And then at the Estadio do Dragão, FC Porto take on Juventus. All fixtures kick off at 8 o'clock UK time. So it's good to have the Champions League back and some decent midweek football to watch for once, rather than the FA Cup, which is what we had last week.
Oh, I can't wait for Villa to be involved in it.
Give yourselves another 12 to 18 months and you will be, hopefully. Right, that is all we have time for this week. Like we said, it's a much longer show because we've actually had a lot of talking points. And we will be back later on this week to preview the weekend's fixtures in the Premier League and have a roundup of the Champions League action as well. So make sure you stick around and look out for that when it comes out. Otherwise, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and follow us over on our Twitter page with the handle at OTCPod, if I remember correctly.
Well, Twitter handle.
Yes.
It's off TC Pod. God, we'll never get anywhere with you doing it.
Sorry. Yes, that's off TC Pod. If you didn't hear that from Brad. And until then, enjoy the rest of your week. It's goodbye from me and goodbye from Brad.
If you want to follow me, that's at Regan Walsh.
It's not even at that. It's at Regan _Walsh. Get it right.
It was a joke. Just get over it.
Whatever. And yeah, we'll see you later on this week.
See ya.